Like many of you, I just got done watching the first two episodes of Daredevil Born Again, and honestly, I'm pretty conflicted. There are going to be spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen them yet, feel free to click off. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but with that being said, let's jump into it. I feel like I gotta start this with the big thing that happens right in the first 15 minutes, which is Foggy's death. I've watched the Netflix show twice and just finished rewatching it 2 weeks ago, so all these characters, storylines, everything that happened is super fresh in my mind. And just like many of you, I love Foggy. He's a great character. The dynamic between him, Matt, and Karen is amazing, and for him to die this soon into the show, it sucks, honestly. Seeing the dynamic between the three of them for the first 5 minutes was great. I just wish we would have gotten a little bit more. And his death is hard, and like I just said, I wish we would have gotten a little bit longer with these three characters. In the Netflix show, there was always something happening between the three of them to where they wouldn't be talking to each other, working with each other, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like we've never really gotten the three of them working together, having fun together, all that good stuff. But on the other side of that, I also understand why they made the decision. The show has been gone for 7 years. A lot of things change in that time. It's under a new company now, too. It was previously made by Netflix. Now it's Disney Marvel. Not everything is going to be the same. Important people die in shows all the time, and as much as it sucks, I feel like it needed to happen for them to tell the story that they wanted to tell with Matt. Don't get me wrong, it's sad, but in no way does it ruin the show for me really at all. Introducing all the new characters adds a fresh newness to it. I mean, like I said, they've been gone for 7 years, and changes need to be made to progress the show and progress these characters. And there's more characters in the comics than just Foggy and Karen, and I know they're very, very important characters, but there's so many other people that they can use, and I feel like they're tapping into that now, and I'm excited to see where that goes. Now I want to talk about the fight scene a little bit, and really that whole first sequence. Honestly, I wasn't blown away. I was reading a bunch of reviews from last Monday from the people that had seen it early, and a lot of people were praising it like it was this amazing thing and all that. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad, but I wasn't blown away by it by any means. It definitely wasn't as good as any of the oneers from the Netflix show. I don't know if those will ever be topped. And also, the CGI was pretty iffy in spots. Honestly, I expected it to be a little bit better now that they have all the money to make it better, but it was still kind of bad in some areas, and in no way does it take away from the show, but you do notice it. Like, it can be very, very obvious when things are CGI versus when they are actually real. CGI aside, though, it looked great. The show as a whole, I feel like, has a really cool look to it. By no means am I any expert in any of this. The cinematography looks really cool. Visually, it looks really cool. There's a lot of cool things they're doing with colors and contrasting Matt and Fisk that I think are really cool. The first episode as a whole was good. Seeing Wilson and Vanessa again was great. Neither of them have lost a step. The courtroom scene with Bullseye, that was really great. And then the conversation with Matt and Karen afterwards was awesome. So there really are a lot of good moments from the first episode. As I mentioned earlier, I also like all the new characters. I'm looking forward to seeing where they take them throughout the season. If I had to rate the first episode on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it somewhere around a 7 or 8. It's very good, but there's definitely some obvious areas that they can improve on. And honestly, I think I like the second episode more than the first episode. The first episode felt a little bit fast-paced, a little bit choppy in some areas, where the second episode really gets into a rhythm and you can start to see all these storylines starting to play out. White Tiger, his whole character, everything going on with his character is really cool. I like all the courtroom stuff, the fact that he's a vigilante and Matt's the one dealing with the case. I think all that's really well done and really cool. Also, the fight scene at the end was amazing. That was like peak Netflix type fight scene. It was awesome. I love that. I really hope the rest of the show has a lot of moments like that. The second episode was slower paced though. Not necessarily a negative, just something to note. And speaking of negatives, I do want to go into a few negatives and really indifferences that I have with the show so far. The first one really not being a negative, but it does feel very, very different from the Netflix show. It's shot different, it feels different, the tone is still dark, but it's a change. It's an obvious change, and honestly, that's what I expect it being a totally new show and it being 7 years later. There's not a ton of action either. There's really only 2 main fight scenes in the first 2 episodes. They're both good, and I don't think we're going to see a ton of action or him in the Daredevil costume for these first 4 or 5 episodes. There are also a few points where it feels choppy. Maybe that's them mixing the old footage with the new footage, with the whole creative reboot that happened. but you can't really tell too much. That's really just me guessing. Overall, it's good though. My overall thoughts, is it good? Yes. Is it on the level of the Netflix show as of right now? No, but can it get there? Maybe. There's some really interesting plot points, things that are interconnecting, just kind of like they were in season 3. And I'm really excited to see where those lead. Those are really my thoughts as of right now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on it down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.